Installment, we went to the Berkeley Unified School District to hear drag queen Panda Dulce give a storybook reading to kindergartners.
I picked out these books myself. I usually try to do it based on the age and their attention span. And so these ones are very visual with like sparse text. So it really allows their imaginations to kind of blossom. And the general ethos of the books is just to accept people who are different, which is, foundational to a kindergarten education. And sets us up for a better future and world, I think.
The story is called Whoever You Are, I Love You More Than the Stars Above. Whoever you are, my baby love. Maybe you like blue. Who likes blue?
Me!
Maybe you believe gender is something to rethink. Maybe you'll wear sparkles or stripes. Some of you are wearing stripes right now. Or break free from gender stereotypes. Maybe you can wear whatever you want. Maybe you like dolls or trucks, no doubt. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to find out. Maybe you'll be an engineer, activist, CEO, doctor, dancer, or a weirdo. Or maybe you'll be a superstar. What matters the most is you're 100% who you are. Because you can't tell gender just by body part. You'll have to tell us what's inside your heart. There's more than just he and she. Gender is a spectrum of possibility. Quiet and loud, soft and strong. You being you, there's no way to be wrong. From who you love to the color of your clothes. Whatever you're into, I won't try to impose. If you want to wear pink, that's totally fine. Want to wear blue? That's totally fine. Just let me know before you try to wear my clothes. And as you find what's authentic and true, I'll be there to love every version of you. Every version. I'll be your guide. I'll show you the way. But babe, y'all are teaching me every day. Now go take the lead. What will you become? You can be anything. You could be anyone. More than anything you can think of. I love whoever you are. My baby love.
So I'm one of the founding members of the Drag Story Hour program. I've been doing this since 2017. And when I do a reading, I get a wide spectrum of responses from kids. Like, as we know, they're kids. And so, sometimes they have the wiggles. Sometimes they're like actually staring, completely enraptured. But largely, the reaction I get is similar to that of seeing a Disney princess, I guess. I just remember when I was in elementary school, Storytime was my favorite time. Because I got to blossom images in my head. I got to imagine what I could be, what kind of plots I would encounter throughout my life. It's really an honor to be a part of that process and to let children just imagine the world ahead of them. I think this Pride, it's important to celebrate our resilience and visibility. Drag queens are some of the most visible beings on the planet. And who wouldn't notice us caked in glitter with sky-high wigs, right? I think it's important to acknowledge that visibility, yes, comes at a cost, and also it is critical. I did not have this kind of representation when I was little. You can tell in some of the children who might be on the queer trans spectrum when they see you, they have an immediate connection. It's like looking in the mirror for the first time. And that anchors them and will anchor them as they grow, just like Rufio did for me. And to think that there are people advocating for a paucity of representation who want to stifle the diversity of our world as it exists is just unthinkable and inhumane. And so representation is flourishing, and we are met with like violence, and we will survive it as we always have.
They call me Mix. Me llaman Maestre. Are you a boy or a girl? How can you be both? Some days, I'm both. Some days, I'm neither. Most days, I'm everything in between. Before I was born, my mom had 2 different names ready for me, Daniel and Lourdes. I would be Daniel, like my tío, if they decided I was a boy, and Lourdes, like my tía, if they decided I was a girl. Both names come from my mom's siblings in Mexico. When I was born, everyone decided and agreed that I was a girl, so they named me Lourdes. As a kid, I never felt like just a girl. I never felt right knowing everyone was deciding and agreeing that I was a girl. I also didn't feel like just a boy. I knew in my heart that I could never choose one or the other. I knew in my heart that I wanted to be free every day to just be me without thinking about choosing only girl or only boy. I always felt like a little of both. I wanted people to believe me. I wanted people to celebrate me. I imagined myself like a book. My outside cover told only one part of my story. Inside, I was bursting with imagination. Even though I knew this, I still didn't know how to explain it to anyone else but myself, so I went on agreeing with what others called me. Agreeing with others was like ignoring my heart. Ignoring your heart makes everything very difficult. You should never ignore your heart. Have you ever noticed how almost everything is divided into boys and girls? People create categories because they think it makes life easier. This kind of thinking is binary. It's either one or the other. En español se diría que este tipo de pensar es binario. Es uno o el otro. But when it comes to people, especially people like me, gender categories like boy and girl make so many things difficult. What should I do? Where do I fit in? Where can I fit in? Here, aquí, we are transgender. We're not one or the other. We flow free like water in a river. We are non-binary. Somos no binarios. We're both and everything in between. Everything makes sense. I understand more of who I am now. I can share how I feel now. I learned it's okay to disagree with everyone who looks at me and says I'm a girl. It's okay to say, I'm not just a girl or just a boy. I'm both and everything in between. Instead of she, you can just say my name or use they. Go ahead, try it. Aprendí que está bien estar en desacuerdo con todos los que me ven y dicen que soy niña. Está bien decir, no soy solo una niña ni soy solo un niño. Soy de los dos y todo entre los dos. En vez de ella, puedes decir mi nombre o usar ella. Many people understand that my gender is something for only me to decide. They ask what I'd like to be called. They learn to use non-binary words for me like they or just my name. They support me. Muchas personas entienden que mi género es mi propia decisión. Me preguntan cómo me gustaría que me llamen. Aprenden a usar palabras no binarias para mí, como ella o solo mi nombre. Me apoyan. And some people cannot understand how it is possible for me to disagree with them and decide on my own gender. They continue saying I'm a girl. They continue using the pronoun she for me. Sometimes they even use hurtful words towards me. They disregard how I feel and what I need. I stay away and try to ignore them. I stay away and try to remember that they have some learning to do. I stay away and try not to let it bother me too much. Thankfully, I met and made friends with other smart, talented, and beautiful non-binary people. We get together and do fun things like have barbecues, play games, build bonfires, go camping, go on bike rides, watch movies, make art, attend protests, create films, take pictures of each other, dance a lot, cook food together. We listen to each other. We believe each other. We celebrate each other. I grew up and became a teacher. I'm a non-binary teacher. I teach my students about respecting all genders. We practice with each other. Les enseño a mis estudiantes a respetar gente de todos los géneros. Practicamos uno con el otro. I teach my students that non-binary people look, dress, and sound all kinds of different ways. I teach my students that it's okay to change and play with words to make them fit us. My students learn to call me Mix Lourdes because I'm a mix. Mis estudiantes aprenden a llamarme maestre porque soy de los dos. And you too can decide for yourself. If you ever feel in your heart that you don't agree with what people say you are, remember that there are many of us out there cheering you on. Speak your truth. Live your truth. Habla tu verdad. Vive tu verdad. Being transgender is being free. Ser transgénero es ser libre. Being transgender is fearless. Ser transgénero es valiente. Being transgender is beautiful. Ser transgénero es lindo. And that's the end of the story. The inspiration for this book really came about me telling this story over and over year after year and finally just deciding to make it into a book and something that I can carry and have pictures for. And initially I had the thought of just making one book for just myself in my classroom and that would be it. But then friends encouraged me to put it out there in the world and I took the leap and made it into something that had a further reach. Usually at the beginning of the school year, I teach kindergarten, so they're very young when they come in, they're practically preschoolers. I'll just read the first few pages just to introduce myself and the word, the concept of not being just a girl and not being just a boy, and then slip in the non-binary term and my pronoun. We'll get more into the gender categories and what that means and how there are people with more expansive gender identities out there and there are so many more identities and there are different kinds of people and different ways to be a person. And we'll go into all of that, usually in the spring towards the end of the school year. I think the main message is definitely the ending, which is that it's beautiful to just be transgender and to be who you are. That how you are is great and perfect exactly as you are and as you become and evolve into who you want to be. And really it's centered on my story just because, yeah, I made it for my classroom and the students have a relationship to me. But I hope that people who also identify as non-binary and transgender find it useful for them to share with young people.